22279-989-FH.
Thank you, Marquise, on behalf of the people.
Karen McDonald on behalf of the people.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Maria Lehman on behalf of James Crumbley, who is standing to my left.
You may be seated. We previously had an argument yesterday evening about numerous exhibits. A number of exhibits were allowed in, some were excluded this morning. There was a question remaining about People's Proposed Exhibit 133 and People's Proposed Exhibit 153. People's Proposed Exhibit 153, we heard argument about, it's the court's ruling that this exhibit does not qualify under any hearsay exception. It's the same ruling and for the same reason that Exhibit 118 was excluded. And then as it pertains to Exhibit 133, broke this exhibit down into two parts. The first one is the Tuesday 10 a.m. I have to go to my kid's school. Counselor just called, and this is what I'm dealing with. I'll be back by 11:30 to 12, the latest, with a picture of the math homework. And that was a text between co-defendant Miss Jennifer Crumbley and her friend. And I don't find this text relevant to the case of James Crumbley, so I'm going to exclude it, except the prosecutor may raise it if it's necessary for some reason, an impeachment such as chronology or a knowledge issue. So if it's necessary to impeach some other evidence that's admitted, I'd reconsider that issue. With regard to the bottom part of this exhibit, again, plaintiff's exhibit 133, on Tuesday at 1:23 p.m. As an offer of proof, the prosecutors indicated they'd be able to demonstrate that there was an active shooter alert, and that subsequent to that, the defendant is calling his wife, Mrs. Crumbley, from their home, and that while Mrs. Crumbley is on the phone with her husband, presumably under the influence of the startling event, that there's an active shooter in the school, that Mr. Crumbley is at the home. She's on the phone with Mr. Crumbley, and contemporaneous with her conversation with Mr. Crumbley, she texts, "The gun is gone, and so are the bullets," and OMG, Andy, he's going to kill himself, and he must be the shooter. So I'll be allowing those text messages in pursuant to 8032. All right?
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. So, are you ready for the jury?
Yes, Judge.
All rise for the jury.
All right, you may be seated. Mr. Roblowski, you are sole girl. Okay. All right, go ahead, Counsel.
Thank you. Sir, we were talking about when you arrived at Oxford High School on November the 30th and you went to the security office.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And tell us again, what was your primary responsibility at that point in time?
was to try to secure the video of what had happened in the hallway where the shooting started.
And you said that there were a number of cameras operational at Oxford High School that
Yes,
time?
yes, there was.
So, in securing the video, what specifically were you asked to do?
We weren't really asked to do anything. I assumed what the bosses, the sheriff and the undersheriff, all of them would want to know is where it started. We knew it started in the 200 hallway, and we saw as the shooter came out, but we were trying to figure out when he went into the bathroom.
So what did you do to accomplish this goal?
The shooter came out of the bathroom with a black coat on. We kept on rewinding 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and watched all the way through looking for him to go into the bathroom. And we didn't know the shooter's name at the time. Then we could never find somebody going into the bathroom wearing what the shooter had when he came out. Somebody told us what his name was. And so we knew that he was in the counselor's office earlier in the day. So we went all the way back to the time he was coming out of the counselor's office to determine what he was wearing before he went to the bathroom. That's how we were able to figure out when he did go in.
Okay, so you were able to eventually identify the shooter?
Yes.
Now, are you the person who actually synced together the camera footage for other investigators?
Yes, I was.
Okay, and tell me, how is it that you were able to do that?
With over 100, at least 100 cameras in the school, you just take clips of each one. And as they move from one camera, you go to the next camera and save that section. And then there's software that I use to just thread them all together.
And then you testified earlier that you were aware that the shooter was in his counselor's office. Were you also aware that James and Jennifer Crumbley were at Oxford High School that day?
At that time, yes, I was. Yes, I'm sorry.
And eventually, were you requested to obtain as much surveillance video footage from that point in time as you could?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to leading.
It's just foundational, Jeff.
All right, sustain.
Now, in the immediate days after the shooting, what was your primary responsibility with regard to the video?
Different things came up. There was a rumor going around that the shooter had actually tried opening doors, and identifying himself as the police. Well, that was actually the police, but I had to go up there and get more video footage just to determine how far he went completely down the hallway before he turned around, and then what had happened in the surrounding hallways and such like that.
And as the investigator who had to sync together the video, did you have to watch the video of the shooting itself?
Yes, sir.
All told, how many hours of video do you think you've watched to put this together?
Too many.
How many different angles did you have to see this from?
Every angle, every camera. There's some cameras that pointed back in one direction from where it started to, I don't know, 7 different angles maybe at different times.
In part of putting that footage together, were you aiding in the identification of the victims?
Yes.
Tell us what you saw in the video.
Started at 12:51. The shooter came out of the bathroom. I'll never forget it. He came out of that bathroom like what I've referred to before in my life, like a proud chest, like his shoulders were back. And he comes out of the bathroom, and there's Phoebe and her boyfriend just standing right there. And he takes the gun as he comes out of the bathroom, and he turns and levels the gun and fires at Phoebe and hits her in the shoulder and fires at her boyfriend, hitting him in his hand as he raised his hand from seeing the gun, I would imagine. Then to his right, immediately, right there, was Hannah St. Juliana and Kylie and Riley. And he started shooting at them, and they fell on top of each other. And in the distance in the camera, you can see the far end of the angle. You see what I found out to be was Madison Baldwin, and she crouched down, like, I don't know if it was in, I don't know why she did it, but it was in the fetal position, and the shooter ran right up to her, and he put the gun right on her head. She just fell over. He rounds the corner into the longer part of the 200 hallway. Prior to running towards Madison, he had just fired down the hallway, just, I don't know, just trying to hit anybody that was running out of there. He rounds the corner and starts shooting. You see a whole bunch of kids, and you see a whole bunch of teachers standing at doors, just grabbing kids as they ran by and just throwing them into a room. And then there's two girls. One, you see, she runs up to a door and tries pulling it open, but the people inside had already put the safety latch at the bottom of the door, and she couldn't get it open. Meanwhile, the shooter's still walking towards, and another girl comes from the right side of the frame and grabs the other one by the arm and just tears off down the hallway. Meanwhile, the shooter is shooting at them. The shooter keeps walking down the hallway past the 200, I think it was a 400 T intersection, I think is what that was. And he levels the gun. And he fires 2 rounds, and at first I didn't know what he was shooting at. And when you go to the section of video of that time is when Tate Neer just comes in, and unknowing to him, he had no idea what was happening. And the shooter leveled the gun, and just as Tate turned the corner, the shooter fired around. And Tate fell instantly. The shooter took a couple steps and then leveled the gun again. And just to shoot Tate again, laying there, shot him. And you see Tate's body flinch. He then walks over Tate. At the top of the frame, you see his feet stop, the shooter's feet, and he turns towards a room that, looking at the frame, would be on the left, or would have been his left. And come to find later on, he had fired into a classroom where a teacher was. He continues on down the hallway, almost hunting for more victims or whatever. And he gets past a certain point, and there's no one else to shoot at because everybody had ran out of the school. Every door, every possibility, every door locked, whatever. And you see him turn around, and he stops at a classroom that you see deep into the room. It's like the room goes that way, but he can only see straight in. Well, as he's walking back this way, he can see the kids, I'm imagining, hiding in that corner, because he stops and fires off a few rounds through the glass. He then comes back, walking towards where Tate was lying. At this time, an assistant principal was laying there, or standing there next to Tate. And the shooter just walks past her with the gun in his hand, and she said something to him. I'm not sure what she said, but you could tell, like, he turned his head, like, almost didn't even look at her, turned his head like in shame. I don't know. And then he keeps on walking down the hallway to the bathroom where the other Justin Schilling was. And he just, as he gets to the bathroom, he just stops and turns right and just goes right to the bathroom.
Okay. Did the shooter eventually exit the bathroom?
Yes, he did.
Before he did somebody else exit the bathroom?
Yes, another student.
Tell me what you saw there.
That student, he was I don't know how else to say it, but I've never seen somebody actually run for their life. And that kid was running for his life.
Now, did the shooter eventually exit the bathroom himself?
Yes, he does.
Tell me about that.
He comes out of the bathroom and he looks around a little bit to see what's going on. Turns around and the bathroom, the doors sit back in like a cubby type area, so they're off the hallway. The main hallway you really can't see, but he turns back around. And eventually now, the two first responding deputies had gotten to Jason Lewert and Jens, were coming down the hallway. And Lewert was a little bit faster than Jens was, just because he was trying to cover more ground. You can see Tate laying on the ground. And Jens is walking a little bit slower. As he's walking up to him, the shooter just puts his hands up in the air and then goes down to his knees. As he's doing that, Jens realizes he sees something, and he yelled gun, from what he told me. And the shooter then lays down on his stomach, and Jason Lewert come back, and that's where they take him into custody right there.
Based upon your video review, and you said you've had to watch hours of this?
Yes, sir.
Is it fair to say that the entire incident was about 9 minutes long?
Yes, sir. Yeah. He was taken into custody at 1300.
That's
1 o'clock, I'm sorry. Started at 12:51. He was taken into custody at 1 p.m.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to go through some of the evidence that you recovered in your forensic investigation. We talked about different information that you were able to draw upon from James Crumbley's phone, Jennifer Crumbley's phone, and the shooter's phone, as well as their social media accounts and emails.
Yes,
Right?
that's correct.
So you've seen all of the bits of every exhibit in this case you've seen, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. And you've seen the demonstrative portions of those exhibits in this PowerPoint before too?
Correct.
Okay. So you're aware, and everyone's aware, we have a citation with the evidence number on that slide, as well as a citation to where from these sources of electronic information was pulled from.
Correct,
Okay.
yes.
Now, from what you reviewed of the exhibits, do they fairly and accurately depict the information that you extracted from the social media accounts and from devices themselves?
Yes, it does. They do.
So we'll start in late winter or early spring of 2021.
Mr. Keys, can I just ask you, this source of electronic information, which exhibit is this specifically?
This is not an exhibit, this is just a demonstrative aid for
Okay.
the local
All right.
search. Thank you. So we'll start with March 8th of 2021. Before we get into that, a little bit of background. You were able to obtain a Facebook Messenger chat between James and Jennifer Crumbley.
That's correct.
And tell me how you...
Earlier, you can send search warrants off after authorization from a judge to obtain information on someone's social media accounts or phone numbers.
Okay. And did that happen in this case?
Yes, it did.
So I'm going to show you what's been admitted as, this is People's 44. Sir, what are we looking at here?
That's a Facebook chat between James and Jennifer, and the green would be James Crumbley and the blue would be Jennifer's.
Okay, so
account.
we won't do this with every slide, but just so we are on the same page here. It says from Facebook 6914734442 JC Rumbley. What does that mean?
The numbers is the ID account that is signed by Facebook, and then the JC Rumbley is the screen name that was chosen by the user.
Okay. And then we have, in the bottom of the text bubble, we have the date. So this is March 8th, 2021. The time, 3:09:50 p.m. And then it says UTC-5. What is that?
It's just to tell you that it's been adjusted. So the normal information is captured in UTC time, -0. And all time starts in the point in Greenwich. It used to be called Greenwich Mean Time, GMT. Well, now it's UTC, Universal whatever it means. Anyways, all time starts there, and depending on which way you go from that point on the globe is whether it's plus hours or minus hours. And we're 5 hours away from where all time starts.
So let's go through this conversation. Blue from Jennifer, Ethan going to bowling. What's in green is James.
Correct.
What's the response there?
IDK, or I don't know.
Okay. Jennifer, what do you mean? I don't know. And what was James' response?
James says, I don't know, period. Exactly what I said, period. We'll know after he gets home.
Okay. And Jennifer's response, 3:12 p.m. Does he have his phone? Again, 3:12 p.m. Why isn't he home yet? 3:12 p.m. He should be home by now.
Correct.
Okay. And Jennifer at 3:12 p.m. and 56 seconds says freaking out. What was James' response?
He does not get home till 3:16.
Okay, so March 8, 2021, that was a weekday. From the combination of the digital evidence that you reviewed, location history, are you able to tell where James was when he was sending this message?
Yes,
Where's that?
he was at home.
And Jennifer's response, I told you to pick him up because he's upset and I don't want him to do anything stupid, goddammit.
Correct.
That's March 8th at 3:13 p.m.
Correct.
Okay, and James's response?
Dude, period, chill, period. He is fine, period. And I'm trying to fucking work. Excuse me.
I'm going to move on to, again, March 8th, 3:13 p.m. What does Jennifer say?
Jennifer replies with, does he have his phone? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
And James's response?
Yes, but he won't answer while he is walking. I will let you know the minute he walks in.
Okay. And Jennifer at 3:14 p.m. says what?
I'm serious freaking out. Then she says, is he home yet? And that was 3 minutes later.
That's March 8th, 2021. That was a Monday. That was 3:17 p.m.
Yes, correct.
Okay. I'm going to move on to Exhibit 61. Again, James and Jennifer Facebook messages. Blue will always be Jennifer, is that right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. March 19th, 9:37 a.m. Tell us what Jennifer writes, please.
Jennifer writes, Ethan awake?
Okay, James's response.
Yeah.
Jennifer,
Replies with, how is he?
and what does James say?
James then says he woke up looking like he had way, in all caps, too much to drink last night, complaining about a headache.
That's March 19th, 2021, 9:40 a.m. And what does Jennifer write?
She replies with, well, he was really worked up and out of control, so I can see why. She continues on with, all I know is he needs to eat, go to work hard, and not complain, and he can get his stuff back. And that was at 9:41 a.m.
Okay. And 10:15.
Jennifer says, you respond, I didn't get a call. I didn't get it.
Okay. And James's response.
He responds back with, one text says Jesus, another one says yes. He
Okay.
said, let me ask you a question. Why am I in your guys' room? LOL.
And that was at March 19th, 21, 10:17 a.m.
Correct.
And Jennifer's response.
OMG. Oh my God.
What did James write?
James responds, I totally thought you were giving him a Xanax last night.
Jennifer's response.
She responded with, does he seem better? And then a second response, no melatonin.
Okay. And what did James say?
He responds back with, I know.
Jennifer's response at 10:18 a.m. please.
Jennifer said, but he hasn't had one before, should have only given him half.
And what did James say?
He is just doing his school, says his head hurts, he took Tylenol.
Okay. And Jennifer wrote, is he okay to work?
Correct, she did. And then James responds back with, yeah.
Okay. And what did Jennifer write at March 19th, 21, 11:38 a.m.?
Does he remember what he did?
And what did James say?
James responds back with, dude, I am working on a demo right now. I have not talked to him, and he is doing school.
Okay. Jennifer's response.
She responds back with, okay then, geesh.
Now you've reviewed the entire phone seized from the shooter.
Correct.
Okay. Did one text message conversation stand out to you compared to the rest?
Yes.
Okay, and tell me, why did it stand out?
Just the volume of text messages back and forth, the amount that there was in just one chat.
Okay, now without telling us the person with whom the shooter was texting with that volume, can you tell us if you came to learn that the person who was texting was the same age?
Yes, he
Okay.
was.
And he went to school with him?
Correct.
All right. Tell us about the approximate number of text messages between the shooter and his friend.
There was over 20,000 text messages between the two from January to the middle end of October.
Okay. So that sounds like a lot to me, but I'm not an expert in computer forensics. Give us an idea of what that scope is.
20,000, I mean, that printed is over 5,000 pages of text. I've examined phones that someone's entire chat conversation with everybody they have is less than 20,000. So it's just a large volume.
To put it in comparison between, let's say, James and Jennifer's Facebook conversations, right? What's the scope and the difference in size there, if any?
I believe James and Jennifer was 10,000 text messages back and forth
Okay.
for that same time frame.
So same time frame, we have double the amount of text message communication between the shooter and his friend as James and Jennifer.
Correct.
Okay.
You said January to October, is that both 2021?
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Judge. Yes, 2021.
Yes.
No, there were also, without going into detail, video shared as well.
Yes, there was.
Okay. And were some of the content of the conversation of a highly personal nature?
Yes, it was.
Now, in comparison to any other conversation on the shooter's phone, what's the difference in size between that particular text thread with everybody else's on the shooter's phone?
He had over 20,000 text messages with his one friend, and in comparison, there was between anybody else, there was a combined, I want to say, less than 1,000 between anybody else that he had chatted with.
So combined, less than 1,000.
Yes,
And then that one friend was over 20,000.
correct.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you just a very small portion of that, specifically April the 4th and April the 5th of 2021, which would be right about 2 weeks after the messages that we just saw between James and Jennifer Crumbley. This has been admitted as Exhibit 67. Names are redacted, obviously. Green is the shooter.
Correct.
Okay. Tell us what the shooter wrote April 4th, 2021, 11:56 at night.
He types, like I hear people talking to me and see someone in the distance, and then he appears to try to correct the spelling of the word distance.
Okay. And April 4th, 2021, 11:56 and 50 seconds, what does he write?
I actually asked my dad to take me to the doctor yesterday, but he just gave me some pills and told me to suck it up.
And 11:57 p.m., what did he write?
He continues on with, like it's at the point that I'm asking to go to the doctor. And then he says, my mom laughed when I told her.
That was again 11:57 in the evening, April the 4th, 21.
Correct.
April 5th, 2021, this is just after midnight. What does he write?
He tells his friend, but I'm having bad insomnia right now, RN, and paranoia.
Okay. And then what does he write?
I need help.
That's at 12:11 a.m.
Correct.
And then at 12:12 a.m., what does he write?
I was thinking I calling 911 too so I could go to the hospital.
And continuing on, April 5th, 12:12 a.m., what does he write?
But then my parents would be really pissed.
And finally, 12:38 a.m., what does he write?
He says, I'm going to ask my parents to go to the doctor's tomorrow or Tuesday again. And he continues with, but this time I'm going to tell them about the voices.
And finally, he writes at 12:39 and 20 seconds, what?
Like I am mentally and physically dying.
Now, you discovered, we just mentioned some videos on this text message thread between the shooter and that friend, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay. So, I'm going to now direct you to August the 19th of 2021. First of all, did some of those images that he shared depict firearms?
Yes, they did.
Okay. So this is Exhibit 70 and 71. 70 is the text message itself. What are we looking at here?
That's showing a video was sent to his friend.
Okay, so this is the same friend we're referring to at all times?
Correct, yes, yes.
Okay. August 19th, 2021, 9:31 p.m. And the video is 71. I'm going to play that now. Now that's August 19th, 2021. Do you know what he was handling in his hand?
That was a handgun.
This is Exhibit 72 and 73. They've both been admitted. This is 8:20 a.m. at 12:30 in the morning, so we're carrying over past midnight from the last video. 72 is this text bubble. So what are we seeing here?
Again, it's a text to his friend that he's been communicating with of another video of the gun.
Okay. And this indicates that video was sent to his friend?
Correct.
I'm going to play 73 now. Now, sir, do we see a round in that chamber?
Yes, there is.
Okay, when I say round in the chamber, what does that mean?
A bullet and a shell.
And that was August the 20th. Now, were you able to tell if the defendant or Jennifer Crumbley were actually inside the home when the video was taken?
Yes.
I'm going to go through, and we talked earlier about how you're able to find certain location history.
Correct.
Okay. So, is it fair to say that you were able to do that for this specific date?
That's correct, yes.
So this is Exhibit 74. Green, and so we're aware, green will always be James Crumbley's location. Purple will be Jennifer Crumbley.
Okay.
What are we looking at here in Exhibit 74?
That's a GPS location that was captured by Google. Is the Gmail account, jamescrumbly8@gmail.com, in the upper right corner, and on August 19th at 9:21 p.m.
Okay, so that's on East Street. Did you come to learn that the Crumbley family lived at 112 East in Oxford?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So that indicates at least that his device is at the location approximately the time the first video on August 19th was taken.
Correct.
Okay. So this is Exhibit 75. This is purple again, so this would be Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
Tell us, please, what you see here.
Again, it's using the same Gmail account that they had. Her GPS location from Google was at 9:29 p.m. on August 19th.
Okay. And again, that's the first video that we saw.
Correct.
This is Exhibit 76, specifically August the 20th, 2021, 12:32 a.m. What do we see here?
Again, another green circle indicating the location of James's device.
Okay. And this is approximately the same time the video of the loaded gun was sent.
Correct.
Here's 77. What are we looking at here?
That's the purple, which is Jennifer's, on August 20th, and that's at 12:21 a.m.
Now this is Exhibit 72. This is part of that same conversation between the shooter and his friend.
Yes.
Okay. And this was August 20th, 21 at 12:32 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. So would that be right after that video was sent?
That's correct.
All right, what does the shooter write?
My dad left it out, so I thought, why not? LOL.
Now, during the course of your investigation, did you come to learn that this friend that the shooter was communicating with abruptly left the state of Michigan?
Yes.
Okay. And did you learn if that was done without notice to the shooter?
Correct, it was not.
Okay, what do you base that belief on?
James had reached out to the father of the shooter's friend, asking if everything was okay, and then the father of the friend told what was going on.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 79. These were covered off of James Crumbley's phone.
Correct.
Okay, and again, names are redacted here. Did
Correct.
you come to learn that this is the father of the shooter's friend?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the date here?
This is on October 30th, 2021.
Okay, at 9:52 p.m., what did he write?
He wrote, "Hey Mark, sorry for the late text. Hope the family is well. Just wanted to check in and make sure everything is okay with the shooter's friend. Ethan's been trying to get a hold of him for a few days. Did not know if his phone was taken away, maybe, but just checking in. Ethan wanted to be with his friend for Halloween if he is okay."
We have this in the same conversation for context. This is October 30th, 21, 11:01 p.m. This was in response to that text?
Correct.
Okay. And what does he say?
He says, "Hey James, thanks for checking in on him. Unfortunately, his friend is in a bad place with the OCD, unable to go to school most of this week. We are taking him out to Wisconsin tomorrow to put him in residential treatment. He'll be gone for 60 to 90 days. By far the hardest decision we've had to make. So he probably doesn't know how to approach it with Ethan or what to say. I think he is probably embarrassed about the situation and is the reason he is not answering. Let me talk to friend. I wasn't aware that he wasn't talking to anyone."
Okay. And then there was another text after?
Yes. He responds, "Sorry for the delayed response."
Okay. And 10:30:21 at 11:03 p.m.?
The father of the friend says, "Let me talk to him and see how he wants to approach it with Ethan."
Okay. And then what was James' response?
James responds with, "Mark, please let me know if there's any way at all we can help. He is a great kid and always great over here and very welcome at all times. Please let me know if we can help."
So that's October 30th, 2021, 11:10 p.m.
Correct.
Now, I want to move into November of 2021. Did you find any information regarding James Crumbley's employment status?
Yes.
Okay. And tell us specifically regarding November of 21, what did you find?
That he had lost his job on the 1st of the month.
Okay. And did he subsequently find another job?
Yes, he did.
And do you recall when that was?
Shortly thereafter, he started door dashing.
Okay. This is I'm sorry, we're still on page, exhibit 79. The response to James Crumbley's text was what?
Always, the dad of the friend says, "Thank you, he loves you guys. Hopefully we can get him better, and Ethan can spend some time over here too. He has to voluntarily go, so there's a chance he may not be admitted. If you don't mind for now, if Ethan asks, tell him he had to go out of town unexpectedly. If he gets admitted, then we can give him full disclosure. Is that all right?"
So here's exhibit 81. This is you mentioned he was door dashing?
Correct.
Okay. And you you were part of the investigators who obtained information from DoorDash via search warrant?
Yes.
Okay. And the DoorDash, if you are a driver for DoorDash, you install an application on your phone?
Correct.
And did James Crumbley have that on his phone?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
Right
And
there.
so what is this in 81?
That's just from one of the things that is pulled out when we extract data, pull data off the phone. It's installed applications, and it just tells us that that app was installed, the Dasher app was installed on his phone on November 9th.
Okay. So that's when he would have put the application on the phone to start receiving orders to be a DoorDash driver?
Correct.
So this is November 9th, 2021, at 8:35 p.m.
Correct.
All right. Now, did you come to learn that he also received messages when he logged in and began picking up orders?
Yes.
Did you find any evidence that suggests that he worked anywhere else but DoorDash in the month of November of 2021?
No, I did not.
And based upon his location history and other information you obtained from his phone, did you come to learn if when he did work beforehand, he was away from the house or in the home?
He was in the home.
Now, what about the shooter's digital footprint in the month of November 2021 after his friend left? When you reviewed the phone, the shooter's phone, for that month in particular, did you find any evidence of the shooter being in contact with anybody else, any other peer?
No, he did not communicate with hardly anybody at all.
Any evidence, either GPS pings, pictures, social media posts, text messages, anything to suggest that he met up with anybody outside of school?
No, if I remember correctly, there was, for the whole month of November, there was only 48 total text messages from the 1st to the 30th.
Okay. And what did those text messages include?
A combined 6 of them were to James and Jennifer, and then the rest were, I remember seeing, he was accessing some app, maybe doing homework or something, trying to find, it appeared like you would text it, maybe a math problem or something, it would send you the answer, I'm not entirely certain, but that's what it looked like.
Okay. But no evidence of plans to meet with a friend outside of school or,
No.
or anything
Objection,
like
Your
that?
Honor, asked and answered.
I don't think I asked that one.
Keep going.
Okay. sir, when I talk about cached data, what does that term mean?
Cache data is data that's stored in a temporary file for your device, whether it's a phone or a computer. One folder instead of re-downloading it.
Okay, so I understand it. Does that mean if it's, does every phone have a certain area of storage of cached data?
Yes, and every app, just depending on what the app is, it would have its own folder of cache data, yes.
Okay. So if there's something, for example, an image in cached data, what does that indicate to you as a forensic examiner?
It would imply that someone had to, it would have had to have been on their phone, they would have had to have seen it.
Okay. Now, what does it mean if two people have the same cache data on their phone for an image?
One either would have sent it to the other one, or they randomly looked at the same picture.
When examining the phone of the shooter and examining the phone of James Crumbley, did you find any images in common in cache data?
Yes.
Now, I want to specifically take you to exhibits 82 and 83. This is the extraction report and a screenshot. So first of all, 82 is the extraction report. This is a snippet of that, please. Tell me what that means.
On 82?
Yes.
Where the file info is and stuff?
Yes.
That shows the name of the image when either you take a screenshot of something, it's going to name it real quickly, or if you receive it, it'll name it real quickly so it can track it within your device. And then where it says path, that's the file path that often tells you what happened, how something got on a computer, on a phone, is by reading the file path.
So let's talk about file path for a second. Now, anytime you, as an expert in computer forensics and cell phone forensics, you're looking to find how a piece of data got on the phone, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and so how does the file path aid you in that?
It just tells, that right there, it tells us what they, like this one, for example, on the screen. It says Android messaging. I know this was done using the Android messaging app.
Okay, so this is from the shooter's phone, and the file path you said had Android messaging?
Correct. At the second line from the top, it says tar archive, and then data / and then com, Android messaging /.
Okay. Now, if something is found in cache data as opposed to just scrolling through the phone to find the image, what does that mean to you?
That they would have seen it on their phone before.
Okay. But why wouldn't you be able to find it just in messages?
Probably, if it was deleted.
Okay. So this is on the shooter's phone, and we have I guess the forensic footprint of this image.
Correct.
And the image itself in Exhibit 83.
Correct.
Okay, so what is the exhibit itself in 83?
That tells you right there, that's a screenshot, because at the top of it, you can see the top part of your phone. Usually it has a time up there, and the battery life and the antenna strength that you have, and you can see it on the top of that image.
Okay, so the screenshot here is 1239.
Correct.
And we have the extraction report on 82 to verify. It's Monday, the 8th of November, 2021, 12:39 p.m. So that matches the screenshot?
Correct, it does.
And because Exhibit 82 has the actual time and date stamp with the UTC -5 that matches the screenshot, what does that mean to you?
That image, that's the image that was sent with that.
Okay. And this was on the shooter's phone?
Correct.
All right, so this is, this also has the file path here at 12:40 p.m. Tell me what we're looking at here.
This one, so this file path is a little different. Again, starting where you see the word path on the screen there, and then going over, second line from under tar archive, it's the tct.cs.rcs, and the RCS tells me that is rich content, and that's Android's way of being able to either share large files, to know, a lot of people have an Apple phone, you can tell when someone's texting you back. That RCS feature allows Android phones to do the same thing.
Okay. So as a forensic examiner, you can tell us that that screenshot was sent by the defendant's phone based upon, by the shooter's phone based upon the file path?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Now here's exhibits 85 and 86. This is from James Crumbley's phone. What are we looking at here?
On the right side is, I'm sorry, the left side, I apologize, is the extraction information that was given, the name that was given in the file path. and then the screenshot again on the right side.
Okay, Exhibit 85, the extraction report here. It has the date and time. It's November the 8th, 2021, but this is 12:40 p.m., so that's later in time than what was found on the shooter's phone.
Correct.
Is that right?
Correct, about 1 minute.
But it's the same screenshot?
Correct, it is.
Now, did you find either screenshot of the 9mm, so price $299.99, used Smith & Wesson SD9VE in very good condition, comes with two 16-round magazines and cleaning kit with an image of a firearm, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, did you find that screenshot in either messaging from James Crumbley or the shooter?
From James Crumbley?
Yes.
No.
Okay. But did you find it anywhere else in the phone other than the cache data?
No, I did not.
Okay. Have you seen reference to SD9VE 9mm elsewhere in this case?
Yes,
Where?
in the shooter's journal.
Okay. And again, because it's found in cache data and nowhere else, what does that mean to you?
That it would have had a one-time bet on the phone. As you're opening the text message, your phone's going to say, I got to save that image so I can look at it if they want to open it up. So the fact that it's in the cache data tells me that they had opened it up
Okay.
to see it.
Now, is it possible to recover deleted content from a phone?
Potentially.
Tell me why.
Each Android phones are different, so depending on the manufacturer of the phone, whether you have either a high-end phone or a simple throwaway phone that you buy at Walmart, the Android operating system can be changed to suit the manufacturer's or the reseller's specifications. So if you want to sell a cheaper-end phone that doesn't have all the functionalities of a higher-end phone, usually doesn't have the features to be able to store longer content or retrieve deleted content.
Okay. So it's nothing to do with your forensic tools per se, it's just on the manufacturer?
Correct.
Is it more likely to recover deleted messages after both users delete the message?
No, is it more difficult?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So the fact that this was found in cache data and nowhere else, that's significant to you?
Yes.
Why?
That it was on the phone at one time and now it's not there.
Did all the Crumbleys have Androids?
Yes, they did.
I'm going to direct your attention now to the days before the shooting. We'll start with November the 26th of 2021.
Okay.
Now, sir, given the tools available at your disposal and the information you're able to pull from, I'm going to ask you to build as best you can a digital footprint of the Crumbleys from the 26th to the 30th.
Okay.
Now, are you familiar with the firearm purchase of the 6-hour 9mm on November the 26th, 2021?
Yes.
Okay. Now, based upon data locations and other information that you were able to retrieve in your investigation, are you able to tell us approximately when that purchase occurred?
Yes.
When?
It was between 1 and 2 p.m.
Well, I'm going to show you Exhibit 87 here. This is data location from 12:08 p.m. on 11/26/21. So what are we looking at right here?
I apologize. It was between 12 and 1 p.m. They were at the gun range there, or the gun store there.
Okay. So this location here verifies the firearm store where the 6-hour was purchased that day?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. And this is Exhibit 88. This is 12:57 p.m. and we can see East Street as far as where we're oriented towards the map. What are we looking at here?
That shows James Crumbley's location relative to his house at 112 East Street.
Okay. So what can you surmise from these data points?
That this one in particular, the larger the circle is, the more I don't want to say less accurate. The larger the range where the device could be. This one in particular is 62 meters from that point. So he could be anywhere within 62 meters of that point there near his house.
Okay. So because we have a more narrow point with Exhibit 87, we can be reasonably assured that the device was at the firearm store from 12:08, and then at 12:57 he was getting within 62 meters of his house?
Correct.
Okay. Now, to the extent possible, I'd like us to go through what the Crumbley family did after the purchase of that firearm on November the 26th. Tell us what you saw on their phones, what they did after the gun was purchased.
They went Christmas tree shopping. There are pictures of it.
Sir, when someone takes a picture of something, is there a way to tell where and when that picture was taken?
Usually, yes.
Tell me why.
So a picture that you take with your phone or even a camera that you might have, a Canon camera, captures what's called metadata. You usually tell your phone to do it. And metadata is data within data. So the main information here that you see on the screen is of a map. Well, embedded in that could be how that map was made by the camera that took the picture, maybe the computer that took the picture, how even the screenshot was made. That's information that you don't see. That's the metadata.
So we're looking at exhibits 89 and 90 here. So 89 is the metadata, 90 is the photograph itself. Tell us what we're looking at here.
That's was taken from the shooter's phone, and he's holding a handgun that was purchased on the 26th.
And the handgun on the grip there says 6 hour?
Correct, it is.
Okay. And so when and where was this picture taken?
This was taken at the Crumbley home on November 26th
And what time?
at 1:03 p.m.
Okay, so we saw from the location history that James Crumbley was almost at his house at 12:57 p.m. And this photograph was taken 6 minutes later?
Correct.
Now, did the shooter post anything on Instagram with regards to this firearm?
He posted pictures of him holding the gun, and then telling people, ask questions, he'll answer.
So here's exhibit 95. What do we see here?
That's the Instagram post where the shooter wrote, "Just got my new beauty today, heart eye emoji, 6 hour 9mm. Ask questions, I will answer."
And when was this post made?
In the bottom left corner, you can see it was November 26th, 2021, and it says 1806, which is 606 UTC, and that's what I was talking about. We're -5 or 4 hours. So in November, we're -5 hours, so it's taken at 3:06.
Right. Here is also exhibit 95. What do we see here?
106. I apologize. It was 106 that was taken.
106.
Minus
I was
5
going to
from
correct your
18.
math, but
Yes, I apologize. Another picture of him holding it in his hand, and that was taken shortly after at 1:06 p.m. on the
okay, so
26th.
same caption of the post, different photograph.
Correct.
All right. And here is again same time, same caption.
Yes, just looking down the sights of the gun.
Okay. We see 3 dots at the top of the firearm. What is that?
Those are the sights of the gun. The two on the outside and the front post. If you don't know, you line those up. It's called your sight picture. You get those 3 dots in a line. If you have equal light on either side, that's where your round's going to go. And he's just practicing lining up the sights.
And that's lined up in a way where it would fire the way you would want it to.
Put a round right below it, yeah.
And same caption. Just got my new beauty today. 6 hour 9mm. Ask any questions, I will answer.
Correct.
Now, were you able to tell if James and Jennifer Crumbley followed this particular Instagram account?
Yes, they did.
So let's verify that. This is Exhibit 91. This is regards to Jennifer Crumbley.
Correct.
Okay. And what are we looking at right here?
This is a caption, a screenshot from the data extraction from a Celebrate report.
Okay. And this tells you what?
It tells me that Jennifer did follow, because it shows the username, entry Ethan.Crumbley, and that the actual name to it is Ethan Crumbley, following on Instagram.
Okay. And here's Exhibit 92. This is for James Crumbley.
Correct.
And same information obtained?
Same
from this
thing. In the
exhibit?
contact column, you can see where interaction status, it says following, and the source Instagram.
Okay. Were you able to determine if James Crumbley followed his wife Jennifer Crumbley's social media accounts as well?
Yes.
Okay. Here's Exhibit 93. What are we looking at?
Another screenshot of an extraction report.
Okay. And what does this indicate to you?
It shows that JC Rum following on Instagram.
Okay. Username JEHNC78.
Correct.
Okay. And this is Exhibit 94. What does it show?
That shows in the contact column JC Rumbley, friend on Facebook.
Okay. So we saw from the location data James arriving home approximately 12:57 p.m., or at least in the proximity of the home. And then these photographs taken at 1:03 p.m. And then these posts made shortly thereafter. Is that
Correct.
right? Okay, you said they went Christmas tree shopping after that?
Yes.
Okay, we're able to tell from location history when that occurred?
Yeah, on the, I'm sorry, the evening of the 26th.
Okay. Now, did you find any other pictures or videos of the murder weapon after they returned home from Christmas shopping?
There was one more.
And this is Exhibit 96. This is 6:39 p.m. on November the 26th, 2021. This was found on the defendant's phone, is that right?
Yes.
I'm sorry, the defendant's son's phone, thank you.
This is on
The shooter's phone. Based upon your investigation, that was the 6-hour 9mm?
Yes, it was.
Did you also find a picture on Jennifer's phone of the 9mm and another firearm owned by James Crumbley?
Yes.
This is Exhibit 97. What are we looking at here?
That's the Sig Sauer at the bottom part of the screen, and on top is a Caltech firearm, and then the magazines and a gun lock.
So, are you aware what was provided to James Crumbley when he purchased the weapon on November the 26th?
I was, a gun lock was provided in the magazines for the gun.
As well as that ATF pamphlet underneath it?
Correct.
Now, the video that we saw, that was taken at 6:39 p.m. That's the video on the shooter's phone.
Correct.
Okay. Now, I'm going to show you Exhibit 98 here. This is at 6:27 p.m., November the 26th. James Crumbley location. Are you able to tell where he was at that time?
He was, the device shows near his house, at his house.
I'd like to move on to the next day of November the 27th, 2021. Could you get an idea of what the defendant, his wife, and their son were doing that day?
Yes.
Okay. Now, what of significance to you?
Jennifer and the shooter went to the gun range that day.
All right. And were there any social media posts made after the trip to the gun range?
Yes.
Is that both by the shooter as well as Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes, it was.
Objection, Your Honor, leading.
Foundational. We'll go one by one. Here is, first of all, for a timeline, Exhibit 99, what are we looking at here?
That, the purple is Jennifer and at the house at 1:58 p.m. on the 27th.
And here is Exhibit 100. What do we see here?
That's the target that was used at the shooting range, posted by the shooter. Took my new SIG out to the range today. Definitely need to get used to the new sights. LOL.
Okay. And date and time when this was posted?
That was at 19:02 or 2:02 p.m.
Okay. And that's November 27th, 21, correct?
Correct.
Now, this is Exhibit 101. This is Jennifer Crumbley's Instagram post. What do we see here?
She posted the target that she had shot and posted with it, Mom and Sunday testing out his new Xmas present. My first time shooting a 9mm, I hit the bullseye.
Okay. So that is how close in time in relation to what her son posted?
Within 1 minute.
Another photograph here, same post,
Yes.
same time.
Yes, it is.
Okay. And finally, what do we see here?
That's the Sig Sauer handgun right there with the magazines and the pamphlet.
So because all three indicate Mom and Sunday testing out his new Xmas present, my first time shooting a 9mm, I hit the bullseye. Does that indicate those three pictures were posted together?
Yes, they were.
Here's Exhibit 102 here. This is 2:03 p.m. What do we see here?
This is Jennifer at her house and 9:27 at 2:03 p.m.
Okay, and so that's practically the same time those photographs, those posts were those images were posted?
Correct.
So the fact that they were posted on her device, or her social media accounts through her device, and we have a device location here, what does that mean to you?
That she was at her house when she made that post.
Okay. And were you able to tell if James Crumbley saw these images?
Yes.
Here's Exhibit 103. What are we looking at here?
This is data information from the cell phone extraction. And again, back to the file path that I talked about, you can see the third line down in the second column. You see com.facebook.katana/cache, indicating that it's in the cache folder.
Okay, so like the screenshot of a Smith & Wesson 9mm sent by his son to him, these images were also found in the cache folder?
Correct.
Now, were you able to obtain data locations from James Crumbley's Gmail account for November the 27th, 2021?
Yes.
Okay, and that helped you identify where he was that day?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll go through exhibits 104 through 107. Here's 104. What do we see here?
It shows James' location. It's near the gas station of the Meyer, at Ray Road in 24.
Okay, we already talked about at this point in time he was working for DoorDash,
Correct.
and we already identified the fact that when there was an order ready, he would receive a text message from the DoorDash app.
Correct.
Okay, so were you able to tell what he was doing that day?
Yes,
What was he doing?
he was door dashing, delivering.
So 9:37 a.m. indicates one position where he's at, and looks like he's back home at 5:32 p.m.
Correct.
And here's exhibit 106. It's about 6:03 p.m. He's out of the house then,
Correct.
okay? And 6:33 back home.
Correct.
Now, what about Jennifer's locations from that day? Were you able to obtain any idea where she was that day?
Yes.
Okay. This is exhibit 108. What do we see here?
It's the purple dots indicating Jennifer's locations.
Okay. So we have 2:29 p.m. to 3:32 p.m. and locations outside of the home that would indicate what to you?
She was not home. She was out and about.
Okay, just to make sure I'm clear, on the 27th, we see James Crumbley leaving home about 9:37 a.m., returning at 5:32 p.m., leaving again at 6:03 p.m., home again at 6:33 p.m.
Correct.
And the same day, Jennifer's gone from about 2:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m.
Correct.
Now Sunday, November the 28th. This is exhibit 109. Tell us what we're looking at here.
That is GPS location for Jennifer on November 28th at 12 p.m.
So she's obviously away from her home. Do you know what's at this location?
Yeah, that's where the horse farm is.
Okay. Now, you say horse farm. You went through all of the digital evidence in this case,
Correct.
okay, including the Facebook messages between James and Jennifer,
Correct.
and messages from James to anyone else or Jennifer to anybody else.
Correct.
Okay. Are you aware of James and Jennifer spending time at the horse farm?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and tell me how you're aware of that.
Your Honor, I'm going to object to relevance.
We addressed this, Judge. You addressed it in your earlier opinion as well.
I think we did. Yeah, I'm not allowed. I think your objection was to wait, not a disability.
Thank you, Judge. How are you able to know that, Judge?
By how many times they talked about whether I'm going to the barn to do this or work on this horse or take care of that horse, yes.
Okay. Give us an idea of how many times they were talking about it.
They talked, it was mentioned within their chats 86 times of going to the barn.
Oh, I'm sorry, what period of time?
That was from January to November.
From that conversation, we're able to tell if they would go together or if they had a plan together.
Both. They would go take care, one would go take care of a horse or they'd meet up there together.
Here is exhibit 110. This is Sunday the 28th at 2:07 p.m. This is at the Crumbley family home?
Correct.
Okay. So these last two pieces of the exhibit indicate that Jennifer Crumbley was at the horse barn from approximately noon to whenever she left, arriving home at 2:07.
Correct.
Okay. And that's the Sunday after that firearm, the 9mm, is purchased.
Correct.
Now let's talk about James' data location points. Here's exhibit 111. What do we have here?
It shows his location at the Meyer gas station again.
Okay, and tell us what he was doing that day from your review of the digital evidence.
That day he was door dashing again.
So this is a data point at 8:56 a.m. Exhibit 112 is 12:45 p.m. Here's he's back at the house.
Correct.
Does he leave again?
Yes, he does.
Okay, here's 113, exhibit 113 at 12:52 PM, what do we see here?
It shows him going away from the house.
Okay, and exhibit 114, what do we have here?
At 5:13 PM, he's back at the house.
Okay, so all this tells you that James left at 8:56 AM, returned at 12:45 PM. He left again 7 minutes later and returned 5:33 PM.
That's correct.
Okay. I want to move on to Monday, the next day, Monday, November the 29th. I'm going to talk about a Facebook conversation between James and Jennifer Crumbley from that day. So this is exhibit 115. Jennifer Crumbley at 8:23 AM on Monday, November the 29th. Are you at the barn? And then follow up with just a question mark at 9:02 AM. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So again, blue is Jennifer, green would be James.
James, yes, sir.
Okay. When you mentioned like those 86 times you talked about the barn, is this what you were referring to?
Yes, it was.
Was this a portion of what you were referring to?
Correct.
James's response was what at 9:05 AM?
Working on Billy.
Okay. And did you come? Who's Billy? Did you?
It was one of the horses.
All right. This is also part of 115. What did James send to Jennifer?
He sent a photo. It's the horse's legs.
Okay. And Jennifer's response?
Do the fronts too.
So that's 9:21 AM on Monday, November the 29th. What did Jennifer write to James after that?
She asked him, "Did you call the vet yet?" And then tells him, "Make sure you get back in between his heel bulbs."
And James's response was, "I did," at 9:34. Then fronts too, right after.
Correct.
And James wrote what at 9:35?
He says, "What exactly should I tell the vet? Type out for me, leaving the barn now."
Okay. And Jennifer's response was what?
Billy looks to have scratches / mud fever. He's starting to stock up on all fours and concerned about infection. He's not lame, sensitive to the touch, and they go down when he moves. Is there an antibiotic I can get him on? We just put Desitin, an antibacterial, on his legs today.
Okay. And then she wrote what?
She asked, was he stocked up this morning?
Okay. So that was 9:41 AM.
Correct.
And James's response at 9:43?
He responds back with, he was stocked up more in the back than in the front. In fact, the front didn't really look stocked up at all, so I launched them for a few minutes before. I put the stuff on it, and it took the swelling down a little bit, but I got that cream all over, in between his heel bulbs and stuff like that. I'll call the vet here in a minute.
Okay. And then you wrote talk to text FYI, so I have no idea what I really just said.
Yes.
Jennifer, it made sense, LOL at 9:58, and then James's response at 9:59.
James responds with, I just talked to the vet, Carrie. Said she's going to talk to the vet once one of them get back in, and she will give me a call back. I explained everything exactly how you wrote it down. Good thing you wrote it down like that, LOL, for me.
Okay, and her response was, okay, good, LOL.
Correct.
Okay, so this conversation regarding the barn and the vet started at 8:23 AM, and it went until 10:15 AM.
Correct.
Okay. Did you come to learn if a message was left for Jennifer Crumbley while this conversation was going on between James and Jennifer?
Yes, there was.
This is exhibit 116. Ms. Williams, do we have the volume?
Hi, Ms. Crumbley. My name's Pam Fine. I'm calling from Oxford High School, and I'm here with Mr. Hopkins, who's Ethan's counselor. I was just calling to let you know that we just spoke with Ethan, had a really nice conversation. One of his teachers had sent an email to the office just that she was concerned because Ethan, when she was walking around the room checking assignments, that he was on his phone looking at bullets and that sort of thing. So she just wanted us to have a conversation. We did. He said he had been to the shooting range with you this weekend, and we were like, yep, guns are a hobby for a lot of people, and shooting ranges, and that's perfectly normal, and that we just wanted to make sure I had a conversation with him about the things he searches at school, and things versus searching at home, like Mr. Hopkins gave a good example of, like, if a teacher makes beer at home, perfectly normal and healthy, but can't be using searches for making beer at school. So we had a conversation. He was great. He was like, yep, I get it. So I just wanted to let you know that we did have that conversation with him, and I don't know, about 5 minutes, and he went back to class. All right, if you have any questions, you can give me a call. Otherwise, I hope you have a great holiday. Thanks. Bye-bye.
that was November the 29th, 2021. Did you find evidence that Jennifer Crumbley accessed that voicemail?
Yes, she did.
Is that depicted here in People's Exhibit 117?
Yes.
All right. Could you find from the messages between James and Jennifer who picked their son up from school that day?
Ethan did. I apologize. James did, father.
Here's Exhibit 120. This is Jennifer Crumbley, you still working, 2:44 p.m. James says no, waiting for their son, 2:47.
Correct.
Okay. And 119, this is later on. What does Jennifer write to James?
She asked you, did Ethan tell you what happened today?
Okay. And that's the same afternoon that the voicemail was left?
Correct.
Okay. And James's response?
Was yeah.
Now we're going to move on to November the 30th. And we'll go step by step from what you were able to discern from all of the evidence that you had to review at your disposal. So in the morning, November 30th, were you able to tell what time the shooter was dropped off at school?
After 7:30 p.m. or a.m.
So were you able to pull surveillance video for that?
Yes.
This is Exhibit 122, 7:46 a.m. on the 30th.
Correct.
Tell us when you recognize him, please.
He got out of the car a second ago. He's the last one walking up.
Right there.
Yes.
And he was dropped off by his father.
Correct.
Exhibit 123. Tell us where James Crumbley went after that.
At 8:04 a.m. he was at home.
Okay. And then Exhibit 124. Where was he?
At the horse farm again.
Okay. So 9:04 a.m. So 7:46 a.m. he dropped off his son. He was home at 8:04 a.m. He's at the horse barn by 9:04.
Correct.
Okay. Do we know what time that Jennifer Crumbley got to work?
About the same time, 9:04.
So this is what we're looking at here.
That's Jennifer walking into her place of employment.
This is Exhibit 125.
Yes.
Okay. And this is November 30, 2021 at 9:04 a.m.
Correct.
Now, do you know if she received a phone call shortly after arriving?
Yes, she did.
So Exhibit 126, what do we have here?
That's from the call log obtained from her phone from the school.
Okay, so we have a missed call at 9:24 a.m. on November the 30th,
Correct.
and then we have a return call at what time?
9:27 a.m.
And how long is that phone call?
That's 5 minutes, almost 6 minutes.
So is that 5:43? It's 5 minutes and 43 seconds?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now, next in the timeline, 9:31 a.m. What are we looking at here?
That's the screen or of a math sheet homework that the shooter had.
Okay. So this was sent to whom?
To Jennifer.
To Jennifer Crumbley?
Yes.
Okay. Exhibit 128, what's this?
That's the full-size image of it, of the math sheet.
So did you come to learn there were actually two different math worksheets?
Yes.
Okay. And this is referred to as the altered one?
Correct, it is.
So this was sent to Jennifer Crumbley at 9:31?
Correct.
Right, that's Exhibit 128. Exhibit 129 is what?
That appears to be an email of the math worksheet.
Here's Exhibit 30. This is what contained in the email?
Yes, that's the original.
So this was emailed to Jennifer Crumbley at 9:32 a.m. Is that right?
Correct.
And the scratched out version was texted to her at 9:31 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. Now this is Exhibit 131. This is at 9:33 a.m. So this is 1 minute after that original drawing was sent to Jennifer Crumbley. What are we looking at?
Jennifer telling James, call now, emergency.
Okay.
And then
And-
she says again, emergency, 2 minutes later.
And then at 9:38 a.m., what does she send?
She sends the picture, the two pictures of the math worksheet.
Okay. So the one that's scratched out in the original, the
Correct.
both that were sent to Jennifer?
Yes.
And James's response at 9:44 a.m.
James responds with, "My God, WTF.
And then what?
Vet not here yet. It's McElmurray for Kira's horse, still waiting on vet."
Okay. So we saw earlier that his location indicated he was at the barn by at least 9:04 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. And this was at 9:45 a.m.
Correct.
And what did Jennifer write?
Responds back with, "He said he was distraught about last night."
James?
James says, "We talked about it this morning." Then he asked, "You talked to him, question mark."
And what did Jennifer respond?
Responds with, "Can you call?"
That's 9:57 a.m.
Correct.
Okay. And what does Jennifer write at 10:04 a.m.?
She says, "Heading to a school, I'm very concerned."
And that's at 10:04 a.m. on November the 30th, 2021.
Correct.
Did you learn that they both arrived at Oxford High School?
Yes, they did.
And did you learn approximately the time they arrived there?
Yes.
What time is that?
About 10:30, 10:36.
This is Exhibit 132, 9:36 a.m. You see James' location history that's still at the barn?
Correct.
Okay. And 134, this is the same surveillance footage that we saw Jennifer Crumbley arriving at work at 9:04 a.m. This is at 10:06 a.m.?
Correct.
Okay. And this is consistent with what we just saw in these Facebook messages when she wrote heading to school?
Correct.
This is Exhibit 126. What do we see here?
It's a call to the school, to the counselor from Jennifer.
Okay, so she left at 10:04, then at 10:07, she called the same counselor who called her.
Correct.
And Exhibit 131, headed to a school at 10:12. So that would be the timeline for that period of the day.
Correct.
So do we have an idea of, you said about after 10:30 a.m. that meeting occurred?
Correct.
Okay, and so is this what you base that opinion on?
Correct, yes.
All right, so what do we see here at Exhibit 135?
Well, you see at the top of it is the horse barn, and then he takes a path down Gardner Road, and then heads to the high school.
Okay. So if I'm correct, what we just saw, Jennifer arrived at work. Well, first of all, the shooter was dropped off at school at 7:46 a.m. by his father.
Correct.
He went to the horse barn at 9:04.
Correct.
Jennifer arrived at her place of employment
Sir.
at 9:24.
Correct.
Then we saw the messages sent from her counselor, and the phone call from her counselor, and the messages thereafter with those two drawings.
Yes, sir.
And then the Facebook messages directly after to James with those two drawings.
Correct.
Okay. And this shows when he left the horse barn and about the time he arrived at Oxford High School.
Correct.
Now, did he stop by his house before he went to the meeting?
No.
Jennifer stopped by the house before she went to the meeting.
No, sir.
Did they go in one car or separate cars?
They were in separate cars.
Okay. Now, we had discussed this particular aspect of the case in a separate hearing some time ago, and there was an original belief that they arrived in one car.
Correct.
Okay, you came to learn that they arrived in two different cars.
That's correct.
Trainer leading.
Again, it's just foundation, sir. Tell me what happened.
When I originally was watching the video, the system that the school has, it's not continually recording. It only records when there's enough movement in the frame. So if they're too far of a distance away, it's not going to record, even though there might be somebody walking across the parking lot. The sensors don't pick it up. And it didn't, once I saw the second car, what I thought was the first car, pull into a parking spot, the next thing I saw was just two people standing in front of it. So I assumed that they'd come out of that car together.
So, keeping with our timeline here, 10:29 a.m. We have a call log of, what do we see here?
James calling Jennifer.
Okay, and how long was that phone call?
7 minutes and 16 seconds.
And based upon what you found on the video and the messages and data locations, this is before they arrived at school?
Yes.
Okay. Now, you were able to pull surveillance footage of both vehicles arriving and their movements while inside the Oxford High School, at least that were contained on surveillance video, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, so this is exhibit 137. I'm going to play this. And just so we know, at the bottom of the screen here, we have a description of the camera, what it's looking at with the time.
Correct.
So this is 10:36 a.m. on November the 30th, 2021.
Correct.
Okay. And this, what are we looking at right here?
That's the parking lot of the school on the north side of the school.
Sir, whatever you're able to, give us some context of what we're looking at.
I come to find out that that's Jennifer pulling up right there in that car.
Okay.
And then there's James and Jennifer walking up to the school.
Right here?
Yes.
Sir, this is James and Jennifer Crumbley in the Oxford High School that day?
Yes,
Okay.
that's in the office there, and they're being directed around to counseling.
At the bottom of the screen there, it's 10:39 a.m.
Correct.
So it just might actually be a good time for a short break if the court was inclined to take one.
You want to break this one up?
That's fine, Your Honor.
All right, so I'm going to let you sit down, but you can't discuss your testimony with anybody, all right? So just about a 10-minute break, okay?
All rise for the jury.
It's- We're going to catch that because I'm that crazy hot. He made this. All right, so by 3 o'clock, we're going to go off.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Your Honor. I know. I know. I know. Yeah.
I remember.
Thank you.
Calling People versus James Crumbley, case number 222799989 FH.
So we're gonna do the jury.
All rise for the jury.
All right, you may be seated. You are still good. Okay. All right, go ahead, prosecutor.
Thank you. Okay, so we were on November the 30th, 2021. This is at 10:39 in the morning, and you identified both James and Jennifer Crumbley in Oxford High School.
Correct.
Okay. So this was a surveillance video pulled from that day and that time?
That's correct.
Okay. Now the clock there that says 12:42, that's incorrect.
Correct, it never changes.
Okay.
Correct.
So the actual time is in the yellow at the bottom of the video, it just turned 10:40 in the morning?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, thank you. Did you come to learn who this person was that greeted James and Jennifer Crumbley?
Yeah, it's a school counselor.
Okay. It just skipped now from 10:40. Exhibit, who do we see leaving the office?
That's the shooter.
And that's 10:52 a.m.?
Correct.
This is 10:53 a.m. Who do we see?
It's James and Jennifer Crumbley leaving.
Okay. This is James and Jennifer Crumbley,
Yes,
and they're walking out of the counselor's office?
correct. Back towards the front office.
At one point in time, James Crumbley was holding a white piece of paper. Now it appears Jennifer Crumbley's holding that. Is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay. And he just took it back from her?
Correct, he did.
So they leave the building at 10:54 a.m. on November the 30th.
Correct.
this is 10:57 in the morning.
Correct.
Okay. And let me know when you see James Crumbley's vehicle leaving.
Here it starts right there
Okay.
and turns to its left.
Okay, did James Crumbley stop by his house after that meeting?
No, he did not.
I'm gonna move on to, we'll go to exhibit 140. This is a location data at 11 a.m. Where at?
At Meyer.
Okay. And that's November 30th, 11 a.m., and that Meyer is where?
To the west of the school, just down the street.
Is that the Meyer you told us about earlier
Yes, it
today?
is.
Okay,
That is
so
it.
that's the Meyer you went to on that same day?
Correct, yes.
Okay. And do you know what he does there?
I know he sits there for a while, for a little bit. I think he starts door dashing.
Did he log on to DoorDash yet at that point?
Yes,
Here's 141. This is 11:24 a.m. And this is that same surveillance footage of Jennifer Crumbley's employer.
correct, coming back to work.
So she's back to work at 11:24 now.
Correct.
Okay, so this is exhibit 142. I'm going to go to a Zoom version here. This is November the 30th. This is the DoorDash search warrant return.
Correct.
Okay, so you can, I'm sorry?
Part of it, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay, and so this is just depicting the November the 30th date?
Correct,
November
yes.
30th days, okay. And so he logged on to DoorDash at what time?
11.
Okay, so
AM.
that's the time he actually logged on,
Correct.
correct? Okay. So going back to this version on exhibit 142, there are no logons prior to 11 a.m. that day.
That's correct.
Okay. His first message was 11 a.m.,
Correct.
right? That's exhibit 80. Exhibit 143. Now, the time here, the top corner, that's 11 a.m. to 11:19 a.m., and this is a map that's been created that depicts DoorDash pickups. Is that right?
Correct.
Pickup and delivery?
The route he took, yes.
Okay. And if you refer back to that DoorDash search warrant return, exhibit 142, you were able to tell that he had 4 different orders that morning until the shooting?
That's correct.
Okay. So this location history depicts what?
Again, that's the path from the Google search warrant return we used to follow the path down to where he picked it up to where he dropped it off.
Okay. And at any point, did he stop by his house?
No, he did not.
This is 11:19. That's when he got his second delivery?
Correct.
Okay. And exhibit 44, 11:19 to 11:46. What do you see here?
It shows where his first drop off was to where the second pickup was,
Okay.
and then where he dropped it off.
Did he stop by his house then?
No, he did not.
Next DoorDash order is 11:58 a.m.
Correct.
Exhibit 145 here. This is the GPS locations.
Yes, it is from Google, yes.
What do we see here?
His second drop off in the bottom part of the picture to where he went back up to the Meyer at the top side of the picture and dropped it off.
Did he ever stop by his house?
No, he did not.
This is 12:51 for a DoorDash order, November the 30th. 12:51, that's what you told us was when the shooting started.
Yes.
Exhibit 146, what do we see?
Where his third drop off was at the bottom of the picture and the pickup end of the fourth trip and the drop off of the fourth trip.
Okay. Did he ever stop by his house?
No, he did not.
Now, what's the first relevant event in either James or Jennifer's devices after the shooting occurred at 12:51?
An email was sent out.
Okay, this is exhibit 141, or a portion of it. This is what?
That's the email header from the Oxford Community Schools at 1:09 p.m.
Your Honor, I believe this is exhibit 147.
Oh, what did I say? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's at 147.
Thank you, 147. So this email was found from a search warrant return on James Crumbley's email?
Correct.
Okay. And it was sent from Oxford Community Schools to james_Crumbley@yahoo.com.
That's correct.
Subject line was active emergency at OHS.
Correct.
Okay. And this was at 1:09 and 52 seconds in the afternoon.
Correct.
Okay. Now, were you able to tell from his data locations where he was when he received the email?
He was, he was going to the Meyer, yes.
Okay, so this is 1:11 p.m., so 1:11:38 seconds, about a minute and a half later, his GPS pinged at that same Meyer that you went to?
Correct.
Okay. That's Exhibit 148. Now, after that email was received at about 1:09, 1:10 p.m., who did he call?
He called Ethan.
Okay. He called the shooter,
Yes, the shooter.
and that was at 1:13 p.m.,
Correct.
and at 1:17 p.m. he tried to call him again.
Correct, he did.
Okay. Neither phone call went through, is that right?
That's correct.
It's Exhibit 136. Does he leave the Meyer parking lot?
He does for a little bit, yes.
Okay. So at 1:17 p.m., we see a lot of different green dots here. Is this the first data location that shows that he left the Meyer parking
Yes,
lot?
it is.
So that was after he received the email and after he called his son twice?
Correct.
Okay. That's Exhibit 149. And does he call anybody else at that point in time?
Yes, he
1:15?
tries calling Jennifer.
Okay. That's Exhibit 136. And do we know Jennifer left her work that day?
That's correct, she did.
Okay, I'm just going to show a clip here. This is Exhibit 150 at 1:18 p.m. So this is after he had that 57-second phone call with Jennifer.
Correct.
Okay, we saw that James left the Meyer parking lot at 1:17. Did he go home then?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Now, first, did he receive a phone call from Jennifer?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so this,
Minutes and 19 seconds.
okay. Exhibit 151 is GPS location from 1:20 in the afternoon, November the 30th?
Correct.
Okay, so that's right after he received that phone call from Jennifer Crumbley?
That's correct.
Okay, and this indicates that he was at the home.
On East Street, yes.
Now, at this time, do we know if Jennifer was on the move?
Yes, she was.
Okay, but she wasn't home yet.
She wasn't home yet? No, she was not.
All right, so this is Exhibit 152. Where is she at from 1:18 to 1:20 p.m.?
That's her employer. She, Square Lake and Telegraph, south of here.
Now, while she was on that phone call with the defendant, with James Crumbley, did she send any text messages?
Yes, she did.
This is Exhibit 133. What did Jennifer Crumbley write to Andrew Smith? Well, first of all, did you learn who Andrew Smith was?
Yes, I did.
Who's that?
That was her boss at work.
So this is at 1:23 p.m. According to the records that you reviewed. Was she still on the phone with James Crumbley?
Yes, she was.
What did she write her boss?
She said, "The gun is gone, and so are the bullets." He replies with, "I'm praying everything is okay." She says, "OMG, oh my God, Andy, he's going to kill himself. He must be the shooter."
Okay. And that was 1:23 in the afternoon on November the 30th.
Correct.
Now, did the defendant receive another phone call from his wife after they hung up from that 10-minute phone call?
Yes.
Okay. Going back to the phone log. This is at 1:30 in the afternoon. It looks like a 3-minute phone call between the two.
Correct.
Now, this was at 1:30 p.m. with a 3-minute phone call, so it lasted about 1:33 in the afternoon.
Correct.
What did James Crumbley do after he hung up with his wife?
He called 911.
This is Exhibit 154.
What's the location of your emergency?
Okay, I'm not really sure. I'm at my house. There's an active shooter situation going on at the high school. My son goes to the high school. I have a missing gun at my house. I need an officer to come to my house right away, please.
Okay, I'm not gonna be able to send anybody to your house right now, so they're on the active shooter situation right now.
I understand that. There's a million guys here. I have a missing gun, and my son is at the school, and we had to go meet with the counselor this morning because of something that he wrote on a test paper, and then I was in town, and I saw a whole bunch of cops going somewhere, and I made sure that I wanted to get to the high school, since I was going to the high school, and then somebody told me that there was an Yeah. My son's name is Ethan Crumbley, Crumbley.
E-W-E-Y. All right, sir, I'm going to put you on hold for just 1 second, okay? Mr. Dr. Cookman, come in and see if I can do anything for you, okay? We're put you on hold.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Crumbley?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to get your name and phone number, and I'm going to have my lieutenant that's out there dealing with the situation. He's going to contact you, okay? What's your first name?
My first name is James.
And last name, Crumbley?
Yes.
Okay. And what's that phone number for you?
248-760-6483.
Okay, do you know what your son was wearing when he left the house this morning?
He had on a pair of sweatpants and like a gray shirt. A gray, like, sweatshirt.
Okay. All right. Somebody's going to give you a call, okay? I can't give you a time frame because they're right in the middle of all of this. I can't give you a time frame, but we're going to give you a call as soon as possible, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
That call was made at 1:34 in the afternoon on November the 30th.
That's correct.
And sir, if you know, that was before the name of the shooter was made public.
That's correct.
Now, at some point, was James Crumbley contacted by law enforcement?
Yes, he was.
Okay, do you know if both James and Jennifer Crumbley went to the Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Oxford substation?
That's correct, they did.
Okay. This is exhibits 155 and then 156. These are location points. 1:58 p.m. for James Crumbley. Where is he at?
That's the location of the substation.
Okay. So he made the phone call from his house at 1:34, and he's at the police station at 1:58?
Correct.
Now, sir, we talked at the beginning of your testimony about the multiple phones that were recovered and that you conducted analysis on. Do you have a chance to review the forensic downloads of the other phones as well?
Yes.
Okay. Now, during the course of your forensic investigation, did you find that on a phone associated with Jennifer Crumbley, what we refer to as a burner phone, had an alarm set for December the 4th, 2021?
Correct, it was.
Okay. That's 157. Oh, they're back home at 2:30 in the afternoon at 157. Exhibit 157, is that right?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, so Jennifer Crumbley, 2:30, James Crumbley, 2:30 afternoon.
Correct.
Okay, so now moving ahead to December the 4th. This is exhibits 159 and 160. What are we looking at here?
That's the screenshot on the left side, and then showing the alarm set on the right side.
Okay. Now, from your review of all of the forensic evidence that you had, did it appear that Jennifer Crumbley would leave her phones on throughout the night?
That's correct, she would.
Okay. Now, we talked a little bit about how the cache images were found of that 9mm handgun, but the message wasn't found, and how you have an ability to occasionally obtain deleted content.
That's correct.
All right. Were you able to obtain a Facebook thread between Jennifer Crumbley and somebody named Brian Wash?
Yes, that's correct.
Were you able to obtain any particular messages that were deleted?
Yes.
I'm going to show you exhibit 161 and 162. These have been admitted. 161, what are we looking at here?
The first box indicates that the message was unsent. And the second one from Jennifer Crumbley is, "We're on the run again. Helicopters not sure where to message you," on December 2nd at 1:31.
When you say unsent, why is this significant to you?
It says she recalled the message back.
And this is from a Facebook message?
Yes.
Okay, so this is after the shooting. This is Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021. And she wrote, "We're on the run again. Helicopters not sure where I'll message you."
Correct.
Okay. Exhibit 162, later on Thursday, December the 2nd, 2021. Did you find another deleted message?
Yes.
And tell us what that is, please.
The original message was, "We're fucked," and then that was also unsent.
And because it says you unsent a message in the red X, does that indicate to you that it was deleted?
Correct.
Now, sir, you reviewed all of the defendant's phone call history. Is that correct?
Correct.
at any point from the time that James Crumbley left for that piece of paper on November the 30th, 2021, to the time the shooting occurred, at any point in time did he call any doctor, hospital, or medical provider?
There was no indication of that, no.
Now, you reviewed his entire web history as well, James
Correct.
Crumbley's. At any point did you see him researching 9mm handguns?
No.
So the screenshot that was on his phone that was deleted, that was sent from his son to him on November the 8th.
That's correct.
Now, earlier, you described the video that you put together of the shooting.
Yes.
And you spent, I asked you earlier, and I think your response was too many as far as hours. Could you, for context though, to lay a foundation for the jury, could you give us an idea of how much time you actually devoted to this?
To that particular video?
Yes.
Oh,
Your Honor, I'm gonna object
40 to 50
relevance.
hours.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna object to relevance.
How's
Judge,
it relevant?
the jury's gonna see the actual video in a few days. This witness was the individual to put over 100 camera angles together. To do that, he had to watch an awful lot of footage, and he also had to parse out certain activities of students before, during, and after the shooting. The video itself is synced together. There's portions where it skips, and we have to explain why. There's no sound in the video.
Okay, well, you can ask him that then. You can definitely ask him that. Why, it's not one complete video.
No,
Like,
it was
it's not,
a series of different camera angles.
okay, okay.
Okay. So it follows the shooter's movements?
From the different cameras, correct.
Okay. But you also had to aid in the identification of the victims?
Yes, I did.
Okay. But how is it that you did that?
By where they were
Your Honor,
standing
I'm
and,
gonna object to this as well. I don't know how this is relevant either.
Judge, this is a homicide case.
Well, it is a homicide case, I'm not allowed.
Thank you. Go ahead.
by where they were standing, I was asked what they were doing just prior to the shooting, the victims were.
So how are you to put that together, though?
I don't understand what you mean.
How is it that you used that information to help identify the other investigators who was who? Let me ask you, did you learn what certain individuals were doing directly before the shooting?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And
They were just standing there dancing and laughing, it appeared, and joking.
all right, thank you. I have nothing further.
Cross.
Can we approach her?
Sure.
Microphone, Your Honor.
Yeah, could you guys turn your mic off? tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. The reasons I'll explain to you more later when we meet. Much like I said at lunchtime, you cannot discuss your testimony with anyone because you're in the middle of testifying right now. So I'm going to have you come back in about 8:45 tomorrow. We'll start at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning with cross-examination. All right? All right, so you can step down. When we excuse you, we are doing work. We were here quite a while last night, but I don't like to make you wait while we're doing other things. So there's a lot of moving parts, so I want to let you go, all right? I need to tell you that during the trial, you should not read, listen to, or watch any news reports about the case. Under the law, the evidence you consider to decide the case must meet certain standards. For example, witnesses must swear to tell the truth, and the lawyers must be able to cross-examine them. Because news reports do not have to meet these standards, they could give you incorrect or misleading information that might unfairly favor one side. So to be fair to both sides, you must follow this instruction. Do not go on social media, do not post, don't do research, don't discuss the case with anyone. We're going to start up at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. Does anybody have any questions about the schedule or anything in general?
What time do you need us here?
Well, we'll start at 9, 5 to 9. I'll
Not either.
be here. No, but we'll start at 9, so you guys are really good today about coming on time. I appreciate that. So, sometimes they want to set their camera up and there's always, I'm here, but we're moving a lot of people around. All right? So, and the court, and you have to go through security. There's all those things. So, it takes some time. So we'll look all day tomorrow. We're making really good time, I can tell you that. Anybody have any other questions about the schedule? Any other questions about the schedule? Oh, I forgot to order you to stay healthy, right? All right. And we'll start up again tomorrow at 9 o'clock, all right?
All rise for the jury.
Mr. Williams is on the way to court to address the issue addressed.
All right, you may be seated. Right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they can go. I'm gonna let the jurors go.
Thank
okay?
you.
There are no jury instructions issues anymore, right?
No, we agreed a few months ago, Judge.
Right.
Yes.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. David Williams.
Good afternoon. Would we call this a motion? Is that?
Judge, I think it is. It's an oral motion.
Okay.
Your Honor, before we get started, I'm just going to place my objection on the record that this is being handled.
That this is being handled?
Yes, especially in front of the media in the middle of a trial, when this is obviously very likely going to be put out in the public, Your Honor.
Well, I do have a concern about that.
Judge, I was not certainly asking for it to be in front of the media, but I don't know how to make a record without that.
Well, we've learned that. It's called 8.119, but,
May I, Judge?
well, I guess I'm wondering, during the course of the trial, if there's any kind of a stipulation that could be agreed to.
Certainly, I'm happy to discuss what my request is, Judge.
Well, Ms. Lehman, would you be willing to have a discussion with the prosecutor's office? I can't, I have to hold public courtroom.
Correct, Your Honor.
I do not want to impact your client or your case in any way by doing so, so I'm weighing the rights of the parties, so.
I would be more than happy to speak with the prosecutor's office about this.
Judge, I'm going to be very brief.
I think the situation could be temporarily taken care of with a stipulated order, but I don't know if that's satisfactory or not. I'm reluctant to impact the rights of the parties during the jury trial.
I mean, Judge, my request is pretty straightforward, and it's pretty time limited.
Well, I know what your request is, but I'm concerned about statements that might be placed on the record, right? Aren't I concerned about that?
I am, Your Honor.
I mean, Judge, I think it's appropriate for the record, and obviously the jury's not present, that's why they're not here. But I understand what the court's raising. I'm not.
All right. Well, I know you do. I know you do. I know you understand my concerns as well.
I do. Hold on just 1 second, Judge.
I'm asking if there's another method during the duration of the trial, which is about the next week or so.
That's exactly it, Judge.
Okay, so I'm asking if you and defense counsel
I
could
provided
enter into
a draft order, Judge.
There was a draft order provided, Your Honor. It is not time specific. It appears to be kind of a blanket
So,
time period.
Judge,
I
we
can
can,
set this for a motion the second there is a verdict, right?
You
Judge,
could, Your Honor.
in fact, Judge, I think we'd be willing to have the order expire by its own terms upon a verdict. We're just talking about during the pendency of the trial.
Okay. If I'm shaking his head, I would like to. In theory, I could ask the prosecutor to file a written motion, but that doesn't help me either.
And Judge, I'm happy to do that.
Okay, Your Honor, my client is not willing to agree to the order.
Okay, so you.
It's basically restricting his ability to speak to people, Judge. I mean, it's
Well, I'm
a
most-
complete revocation, except for counsel.
I'm most concerned about him being able to talk to you.
Right, and absolutely that's not part of what we're asking. I mean, Judge, if the order gets entered, we're asking that the communications be limited to only counsel and legitimate clergy during the rest of the trial. That's my request. We're talking 7 or 8 days. You can talk to his attorney, you can talk to legitimate clergy.
Okay, so if he doesn't agree to it, then the prosecutor is going to make the motion.
That, Your Honor, I would propose that there could be a different order with a restriction and not a complete revocation. Obviously, the prosecutor's office is reviewing communications. They would know whether or not the order was violated, and at that point, if the court needed to take action, then the court could take action.
Judge, it's not just about violations going forward, it's about the conduct that's already happened.
Well, I understand that. I understand that. It's so hard to understand because there's a big old sign right there, right?
It's on every call, every single call.
Yeah,
Judge, if there's not an agreement, I'd like to just make my motion. It's fairly brief, Judge.
So, Ms. Lander, what's his position?
Your Honor, he is not agreeing to the order.
Okay, well, does he know that in 10 minutes, there's gonna be an article about it? Does he know that in 10, maybe 8? I can't, I'm not permitted to have a closed courtroom unless we are proceeding with a closed hearing under 8.119, and as I sit here right now, I don't know if it's called by, so.
No, you won't. May I speak with Mr. Williams for 1 moment?
Yeah, you can step out from the.
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay. Do you want me to write it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Judge, I think we reached a resolution.
Sounds good.
Judge, I think I can just briefly make a record. This is obviously, the order is going to become public. The agreement is going to be that these communications will be revoked, but not his ability to do research or otherwise participate in his own defense. So not just communicating with counsel, but his ability to read or get other information.
Okay.
Simply communications.
And
So-
that's gonna be a stipulated order between you and Ms. Lehman,
Correct.
all right? And did you say that order would expire upon a verdict?
Yes, Judge. And,
Okay. And
perhaps
what-
it should
what
go
if
without
there isn't
saying.
one? What if there isn't one?
Well, I think,
Would you like
I mean, mean, we can address it at the time.
Okay.
I think the issue is, once there's a verdict, a lot of the issues just fall away.
Okay.
And Judge, it should go without saying, but I hope the court will encourage Mr. Crumbley that the conduct that got us here.
I think I already did through his attorney.
Okay,
On several
thank you.
occasions, both in private meetings that we've conducted. And I say private, I mean with both the prosecution and the defense.
And for the record, I've also addressed you here.
I know you have. So. I gave out free legal advice, Mr. Williams. So someone can take it or not take it, right? So I'll sign the stipulated order.
Yeah, okay.
Good. I didn't sign it.
May I approach the clerk, Your Honor?
Sure. All right, my staff is going to e-file that order, all right?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That was adjourned, huh? All right, so we'll start right at 9 o'clock tomorrow with your cross. Okay. All right,
Thank you, Your Honor.
all right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Everyone please have a seat. Are you leaving stuff in the closet or?
No, no. Actually, I could, if you don't mind. Yeah.